All right, welcome back, everybody. I took a couple days off. Went away for July 4th with the family, and happy to be back. I'm joined by a dear friend from MPG Promotions, Daniel Mael. Daniel, thanks for joining me on this Wednesday.
Thanks for having me, Warren. Really excited to be here.
So tell us. I see you're wearing that shirt, and you know what? Before I ask you what MPG is, I'll tell the story about how we met just over a year ago. I was walking, down for prayers in Jerusalem, and going towards the Western Wall, and some guy, meaning you, says, "Hey, we need a quorum. We need 10 men to pray." It's like, all right, fine. We're getting to talking. You're wearing awesome gear, and I'm like, "Yo, where'd you get that, man? I've been looking for cool gear." And then we connected, and have been friends, and ordering a lot of stuff, and all my awesome Herald gear and Emerald gear is from you. So, without further ado, tell us about MPG.
And you can't forget that was actually also, I think, 5 in the morning. I know I just landed, had a just under a year-old baby, and it was pretty tired at the time. So definitely good fortune that we met. So MPG, we do everything, logo merchandise, swag, anything and everything companies, even some private individuals want to put for their logos. It's a family business, been around for 18 years. My father has actually been in the industry close to 30. After I graduated school, had one job. It was going well, but was just looking for a change of pace. And my dad said, "Hey, Daniel, why don't you take a shot until you find something else?" Of course, that's how it goes with family businesses more often than not. And that's where I've been ever since. So fortunate enough, my parents welcomed me on board, and met my wife, now wife. She's from Manhattan, so MPG's headquarters is in Boston, and wife really wanted to be in Manhattan, and of course I wanted to be in Manhattan. So we decided to kind of start our own branch, quote unquote. And now we have a team out here in Manhattan that handles things here. We work together, work very closely with my colleagues, Danny, Shelby, Brenda, Ellie, and everything kind of rolls smoothly there. But yeah, anything and everything having to do with logo and merchandise, we're your go-to. So whether that's the higher end branded items, say Nike, Patagonia, or say a cup that you want to give out at a welcome event, we can do everything. So that's our sweet spot. Pre-COVID, awesome. Of course.
Yeah, of course. And what's your role within the company aside from opening up Manhattan operations or New York operations?
So I mean, I'm doing a lot of sales. So going out, meeting with clients, potential customers.
You flew to Israel for me, really? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Flew to Israel for you. Idea generation, vendor relations. So something about the promotional products industry, it's definitely evolved in the last couple of years. It used to be, I think, a lot simpler. They're back in the days you had to fax proofs to each other, to your client to get an approval to print a pen. There's only 3 or 4 t-shirts available. Now there's tens of thousands. So when it comes to sourcing, my general philosophy is not to be complacent and try to come up with innovative ideas. So we've partnered with a number of brands that others haven't. So we have the ability to, for example, print Lululemon or Arc'teryx. Just started working more closely with Grayson Clothiers, which is an amazing golf brand. Definitely send you a polo, Warren.
Appreciate it, man.
So in terms of that side, that's where I've spent some focus as well. And then trying to help build out our company store portfolio as well. So we run our company stores largely on the back end through Shopify, and we have a great fulfillment partner who does a lot of work on Amazon, and they're actually able to integrate our stores with their system. So that's another element that I've really been working to grow. And so in terms of business development, that's taken up a lot of time. And I try to just play utility man, however we can be helpful in the company. And again, it takes a really great team. So working with our colleagues, it really makes it's a lot of fun, and we're able to take a lot of chances, which is fun. I'm not the kind of guy who gets really excited about kind of the bland items. I really like the nuance and the new ideas. So that's where I've put a lot of our effort.
That's awesome. So can you speak to the important, actually I'll reframe this. I read a book by Cameron Herold, who was the COO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and as you know, like the side of their trucks are just emblazoned with their logo. It's in your face as can be. And he said that, and it's funny, right before we met, that's when I had read that. And, and he stressed the importance of, even if people think that you're, whatever you are, for wearing your gear, all the time, I'm always rocking the gear. It's like, well, people are going to, then have touch points with your brand or recognize and remember your brand. Can you talk about the importance of like promotional items as far as that goes, and like why you think it's important to always be representing your brand?
Yeah, look, I think every opportunity you have for someone to see your logo goes one of two ways. If you could be the guy in Trader Joe's not wearing your mask, screaming at someone, and that's a very bad look for your brand. But it also is a tremendous opportunity that when you're the guy who goes above and beyond to be nice and you're wearing that shirt, and there's a positive association with that brand. So assuming that everyone's going to be a generally decent person, it's a great opportunity to represent a brand. And it's also it's a soft sell in that everything involving promotional products, by and large, the goal is to make people happy and to make people to provide a service. So say someone is really concerned about the environment and they don't want to use the plastic bags in their supermarket and they want to bring their own reusable bags. So a company taking a stand and saying, hey, we're going to give everyone 3 reusable bags so you guys can go and feel and help the environment. That's a positive way of using your brand and using your dollar. So it's a tremendous opportunity to just make people feel good about themselves. And I think that also, I try to, on our team, stress that as well, because for us, we're not asking someone to say, hey, give us $1 million of your money so we can invest it for you. We're saying, hey, we take a chance with us because we believe in our product, we believe in what we're doing, and we can provide a very good service, quick turnaround, and deliver exactly what they want. And it's a net positive. And if God forbid it goes a little sideways, we're here to help make sure that it's right. Because again, at the end of the day, it's for people to be happy and to have a positive association with the brand. So as you know from your industry, how people perceive your brand when they first see it is extremely important. So we're just trying to help.
Absolutely. So you're saying if I'm wearing this, I shouldn't be an a-hole.
I would say yes.
Yeah, I should be nice every time I'm wearing it. Okay, fine.
You should definitely hold the door for everyone when you're wearing that shirt.
Okay, fine. Exactly. I rock it to the gym when I can. So let's talk about, the pandemic, happened, to all of us, it's a global thing. I'm sure that, in being in the promotional industry, you definitely, do conferences, events, et cetera, et cetera. What has that been like, and how have you guys had to pivot during the times?
So it's been completely surreal. I would say certainly in March, April, 95% of the business was just completely shut down. Many of the existing projects were put on hold. Many marketing budgets were pivoted. So say there's some people who wanted to go from campaigns in stores. We have one client who does a lot of displays and does quite a bit of in-person marketing. It's a food brand, so they're in Costco, they're in HEB, they're in all these different stores, and they're interacting with people face to face. Obviously, that wasn't happening March, April, so that budget was transferred a little bit. It opened up tremendous opportunities. So normally, I'd say under 1% of our total business has to do with hand sanitizer. But it did make it. But we did have the back end resources available just from that supply chain. So that enabled us to try to help as much as possible. Initially, this is a little bit of a back and forth within the company about how to really take advantage of that. But my mother really said that it's important to get ahead with hand sanitizer. This is maybe the second or third week of February. So my mother was obviously right. So the lesson from this is always listen to your mother. But we actually gave away hundreds, if not thousands, of bottles of hand sanitizer to help people try to just have access to it, because there was just a complete shortage. And then on top of that, we also were able to then get other supply lines set up. And we were working with so many clients that ordinarily would not partner with or wouldn't have the opportunity to really speak to, just because the situation was so crazy. And part of the reason I focused on sanitizer, not masks, is that there's just so much unknown in the mask space. You saw the FDA switched what the regulations were, what the approvals were, and there's so many sanitizer companies even that were using bad alcohol and all sorts of issues there. So we only really ventured into areas that we knew 100% what the channel looked like. And I'm very grateful for that, because a lot of people made mistakes in that, and there are a lot of companies who unfortunately paid a steep price for that. And I also know a lot of people that receive bad goods on delivery. So unfortunately, it's the Wild West. There have been plenty of articles about it. Yeah.
And I have to give you guys credit. I mean, here's a sample. I don't know if you can see it, but this is like one of the OG original hand sanitizers that you guys sent us. I think I ordered them like March 10th or something like that. As the pandemic was happening, we didn't think that we were going to close offices. We wanted to, we ordered I think 150 to New Orleans and 150 to New York. We didn't want to, have our people, we wanted to have that, and there was a shortage at that time. How did you guys, get supply of hand sanitizers when there was a shortage everywhere else, or you couldn't get it in the store?
So through our regular supply channel, so there in the promotional products industry, there are a couple of vendors that I say quote unquote the heavy hitters. And I went to my parents and said, hey, I think we should just take an inventory position, which is unusual for people in the distributor side like us. But we took a little bit of an inventory position. And I'd also say that I was just proactive on it. So we reached out to you and other partners just to make sure people were aware of that. So that's how we did on that bit. And then we were actually working in the kind of wild west, trying to figure out supply chains that were reliable. And thank God we were able to establish a couple of very nice relationships. And it was really God helped us there, because again, I mean, we had a number of people try to bring us items and goods that were just not up to par and were not FDA certified or had shady certifications. So it's just a very, very dangerous territory. So I felt very secure with our supply chain. And ultimately just had to be very, very careful with picking your spots, because it's a very, very dangerous game.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who who knows me knows that, like, prior to meeting you, I now I have a ton of gear, and I always, at my shirt every day for every interview is always Herald or Emerald, and I think I have to place a new order for some Emerald gear, to even the playing field here, even though I have both logos right here. But prior to that, and when I met you at the Western Wall, I was like, dude, like, that's high quality. That looks awesome. I feel like there are so many suppliers, including like very big, high revenue, sites that I won't mention or shout out here, that sell, for lack of a better term, crap. I mean, yes, it has your logo on it. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it gets to you quickly. But can you just, reemphasize, like, why you guys take that position of, making sure that all your products are quality, or things that you'd want to wear, and, really caring about, what you're delivering?
Absolutely. I mean, so for me, the goal is when anyone opens up a box that we've shipped them, they're extremely excited about what the product they're getting. Obviously, I'm not in a position to dictate to individuals how they're supposed to use their marketing budget. Company A could say they want to have 10 different items within a $10,000 budget. Company B could say they want to have 2 items. My general school of thought is to go closer to the 2 item kind of use, because I think you can get more bang for your buck. And I think it's better to have fewer high quality items than kind of a plethora of mediocre items. I think, our industry is sometimes referred to as trinkets and trash. And I say, I'm skeptical to even to say that it is our industry, because I really don't even like that. It's one of those things kind of close eyes, and if people really need it, I'm where our butter is in the higher end brands. So knowing that when people are spending their money, it's an effective use of their money, is what we're really committed to. So we're very comfortable telling people, saying, hey, listen, that is a very mediocre item that's not worthy of your brand. So that's where we put a lot of our effort, again, in R&D, but really trying to establish partnerships with companies that sell high-end goods, and making sure that we're able to offer something creative and different that people are proud to wear. So whether that's Arc'teryx, Grayson, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, those are just nicer brands. And I think that it's something for marketers in general to consider, that when you're spending money on your employees, there's an extra bonus when they receive it, and they're almost like surprised that they have something that's so nice. I think the Nike swoosh does carry, for example, that it's worth that extra couple of dollars. I really truly believe that over something that's like a secondary knockoff.
So I've actually been wearing my new Nike gear that you got me, including this hat with the Nike swoosh on the side and the HeraldPR logo. What do you say? I've a couple of people have said to me, like, you're repping your brand. Why are you repping Nike too? I mean, what's your rebuttal to that?
So in terms of co-branding, it's a general, I've had interesting, every once in a while someone says, oh, I'd like this Patagonia vest, but can you take the Patagonia the logo off the vest? So I don't want to go into a whole lecture here on the supply chain, but if someone wants to make something that's of a similar quality to Patagonia or Yeti, they're very happy. You go ahead and do that. That's not to say that they have some sort of secret sauce that nobody else can invent. But when you're co-branding, you are piggybacking off of the research and development that these companies have put into their goods, that they've had employees spend time and money on to make sure that it's of high quality and that there is something that's backing it. So the reason that these companies are worth what they are, and the reason that people actually want to wear the goods, is because they've spent the time to make sure that it's of quality. So that's not to say that a knockoff wouldn't be potentially have a passing grade, but there's definitely value in the co-branding. Secondary, I actually happen to really like the co-branding element, and as someone who grew up an athlete, was a big baseball player, basketball. Now I love golf. I actually really like. There are certain brands that I'm very much like, and I love how they fit and how they work. But and there are others that I really dislike. And it's also a nice way of creating. It adds value. And again, when an employee has something that's, and I see this all the time, if you hand an employee a Patagonia vest, or you hand them a comparable unbranded, or sorry, branded but not a Patagonia vest, say it's like just an not off brand, 9.5 times out of 10, the person's getting much happier with Patagonia. It could be the exact same thing if you take the Patagonia off, because there's something to the name brand, and there's something that says this person really believes in me and they see a value in it. And by the same, and again, I don't need to disparage brands that I'm not a fan of, but there are a number of brands out there where if I said, hey, Warren, I'm going to send you a holiday gift and this is the brand, you'd say that's almost insulting, just from the perspective that it's below the level that you would expect from higher quality. So in the brand's world, it's, I don't want to say you play the game, but it does add value.
So during pandemic, and why don't we answer both pre-pandemic and then during pandemic? Sure. Now, what are your most popular products? What were they prior, and what are they now? I mean, not excluding hand sanitizers, and we'll get into masks later, but
yeah. So it's again, this is, I don't want to evade the question, but I'm going to have to get back to you in terms of what's popular now, aside from the pandemic thing, because it's just been so much consumed with everything having to do with germs and eliminating touch points of contact, and ensuring personal safety. So that's pretty much been the life there. A very, very distant second has to do with sending employee at home work at home kits. So whether that's a foam roller, whether that's a backpack, whether that's a mug, general items that could be of use for people at home has been huge. Obviously, you have a plethora of people that are usually working on events that are saying, okay, now I'm working to make sure that employees are happy at home, or we're going to have a Zoom meeting and I want to make sure that everyone who attends the Zoom meeting has some cool items that they can all have together while they're on the call. So that's been there. And then in terms of before the pandemic, again, we were really, really working hard to get some of the bigger names moving beforehand. It's actually, I'm now like jogging my memory for some of the stuff, because it feels like feels like ages ago, even though it was only a couple
Sure
months.
does.
But we have a great new Nike line for 2020 that's really popular. People really loved. And again, this new company, Grayson Clothiers, had some really nice looks on that. And we're just getting into the conference season. So, unfortunately, it wasn't seen through all the way, but I guess I can get back to you in a couple months when hopefully people start planning for, say, the end of 2020 or beginning of 2021 with the bigger ticket retreat events.
So now I want to switch, like pre-pandemic. What have been some of your most ridiculous requests of branding items, or do you only offer what you guys offer? I mean, have you had people ask you to come up with something creative for them, specifically, and what have been strange requests?
Yeah, so something that I think makes us different is that we're very much in the yes business, but we really try to go above and beyond. So we have the capability to decorate just about anything. So people have asked for crazy stuff. I mean, I would consider taking a Patagonia logo off of a Patagonia vest actually to be pretty ridiculous. That's request has happened a couple times. People have asked, I mean, I've had kind of half joking requests for, I don't want to say inappropriate, not to be discussed on Zoom, personal items, which is always just kind of a strange conversation.
Okay.
It's just strange if people ask for, like lingerie, just weird requests on that to hand to people. That definitely takes the cake in terms of the strangest things I've ever heard. Yeah,
that would make for interesting Zoom calls.
Yeah, no,
part of the kit.
That was before that. Yeah, it's definitely quite weird. But in terms of actually concrete, cool, out of the box things we've done again, there's one company we work with. They did branded snowboards, branded skateboards, bicycles, foam rollers. Just really awesome, innovative things. So in terms of like unique, that's definitely been there. Doing a lot in the kind of active winter sports. That was really cool. Bike helmets, just generally unique things that are not the typical cup, hat, pen, which have been very interesting, and again, very fun to work on.
And so you don't typically have those in your arsenal, but you go out and source them and find the high quality item that they want, and then put your stuff, figure out how to brand it.
So we actually have a partnership with a number of different vendors who that's their specialty. So my specialty is not a longboard. My specialty is not a bicycle, nor is my specialty a mug per se. But I work with specific manufacturers who that's what they work on all the time. So that's knowing who to turn to, knowing who can get the job done. That's where we're good, and that's where people don't have to worry about trying to piece together 1,000 things. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into offices and people are trying to take orders from 1,000 different places, trying to go to retail sites, and then that site doesn't have size large. They have size small, medium, and XL. They don't have large, so therefore they can't do the order. Where I say, hey, listen, not only can I get you all these sizes because we work with them on the back end, but I can also get you a better price. So that's where we come in. So to answer the question again shortly, my specialty is not bikes, but I know who can decorate them and look really great. And if you go around, local supermarket and you see one, there's a good chance that our partner had something to do with it.
That's cool. How about car wraps? Have you ever done that?
So
or you have a partner who does? Yeah,
I have a partner who can do it. I haven't done that because again, knowing when to tell people that there's a better option is also something that took some time for me. But once you learn that, it makes things very easy. So car wraps, there are better ways to streamline that than us. So when people ask us about car wraps, I direct them to a number of different options that are probably better. Because for me, there's more time involved in the car wraps than there is value I can provide for the customer.
I was asking for a friend because my wife told me on multiple occasions I'm not allowed to do that with our cars. So,
so yeah, no. If now that I know it's your wife, yeah, definitely no. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you can't do it. Yeah. No. So also, I mean, what do you think? I mean, how do you get partnerships? You have the Nike lineup. You have Lululemon, you have Arc'teryx. Like, how do you get those partnerships? Like, what, again, like, how does that work? How do you initiate contact with them and then get their lineup? Because I think it's really cool. And like I said earlier, like those big sites, the things that I've seen, they were just plain Jane or whatever, branded or again, like a no name brand product. But to get that stuff is super impressive. And again, I got the one, a couple of people said that Nike comment to me that you rebutted very nicely. But I think it's cool. When I look at it, I have my non-hooded sweatshirt that has a Nike logo here and the Herald logo here. And I wear that anytime. It's not real feel of 105 in New Orleans. I mean, it's wonderful.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So there are some that are there's some brands that have specific items that are tailored for the promotional product world. And you can generally tell that based on the location of the logo, because, for example, Under Armour will move the logo to the left sleeve. So a trick for Under Armour is, if it's made for the promotional product industry or if it's retail, based on where the Under Armour logo is. If it's on the left chest, it's a retail item. If it's on the left sleeve, it's a promotional product item. So you can get better visibility for embroidery on the chest. So there are some that are just available in our industry. And we're actually part of the largest buying group in the promotional product industry. So our advantage in that space is that we can just provide a really great service, and B, our pricing is going to be better. And then when it comes to some of the other brands, that's where we've kind of put in the grunt work to try to establish those relationships and those partnerships so that we can make those available to our partners like you. And when someone asks for a brand, the last thing I want to do is say, no, I haven't heard of it, or B, I can't get it. So if someone comes to me with something and says, hey, what's going on here? I try to do anything I can in my power to make that available. That actually happened both with Lululemon and Arc'teryx. So I just went, you go out and make it happen. And then on the corporate side, they're a lot of times, many of these companies are skeptical working with in the corporate world because, they want 17 proofs. They want a sample of this, sample of that. And there are all sorts of issues there. When they work with us, they know that we're just going to be very clean with them, and we handle all that so that they don't have to deal with the mess of someone miscommunicating. And we're like, hey, we have a very streamlined process. We'll deal with the person who's going to be buying that merchandise, and you're just dealing with us on the purchase, and that way they don't have to worry about any of the declaration or anything like that.
Oh, so they can stick to their core competency, which is making the quality product. You stick to your core competency, which is handling the design and all that stuff, and you're just buying product from them and handling all the headaches.
Precisely, because again, these companies are not built to deal with HeraldPR asking them for 1,000 different things and then trying to figure out what makes people happy, and then, hey, there's a mistake here, or I want the logo a little smaller, trying to negotiate all that. They're built to try to get into retail. So,
but I thought Lulu loves me, man. They don't love me.
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah.
Listen, they're actually no, they have to be very tough customers. That's just happens to be on their corporate side. But I mean, like take brands like Patagonia, for example. Patagonia is turning away millions of dollars because they don't want to work with certain industries. So we're kind of grandfathered in there, but we've had some customers that aren't even able to purchase Patagonia because Patagonia is so strict on their purchasing requirements. So again, things like that where we're able to work on just makes a difference and makes everything a lot easier on both sides.
All right, so we're gonna end with three questions. I'm gonna give you 3 tiers. I have $1,000 budget, I have a $5,000 budget, and I have a $10,000 budget. What are my best items to get? Or how would you approach working with each different level? I know it's industry specific, and I know it's a tough question, but.
And how many people?
Fine, let's say 10 people each, just to make it fair.
Okay.
Everyone gets 100. Everyone gets 100. Everyone gets 500. Everyone gets 1,000.
Okay. Okay. So I'd say right now for 1,000, I'd go with the Grayson Clothier's polo for the summer. It's great, awesome polo, wicking material. Just looks super stylish. I actually have one right here. So collar's awesome. I think I have to get the black one for you, but fit the HeraldPR. But it's an awesome shirt. It's great. With the, what was the next, 5,000?
Yeah, 5,000, 500 each.
500. Okay, so you can go with for the summer. So you could actually get a Yeti cooler. You could send the Yeti cooler to every single person's house, which would be pretty awesome. And then in the cooler, you could have a whole Nike collection. So you could have a backpack, hat, and you can even have a smaller Yeti there also, like a Yeti 20 ounce. It'd be great for every Herald PR employee.
Hey,
Maybe
this
they'll
is my
expect it
interview
now.
series. You're not selling me right now, buddy.
Ah, okay. Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm talking to your employees.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then 10,000. 10,000, you could actually, you could kind of bridge the gap between the summer and fall. You could send a vest in advance as well. You could also add in, at 10,000, you could even send custom bicycle to everyone. Because again, there's been a huge bicycle shortage with COVID-19 and a lot of the manufacturers being tied up. So with $10,000 and only 10 employees, I would send all the $5,000 stuff plus a branded bicycle, and something for everyone's immediate family as well, because when they show up, everyone else is going to want something too because they're at home. So maybe double up on all the items in 5,000. I think people would appreciate that.
All right, that sounds. You're giving me a lot of ideas, and you don't have to sell me. I like your stuff, so I need more gear.
and one more. I'd also say
Okay.
load up one other thing. Melissa and Doug. Anyone who has kids knows Melissa and Doug. So we actually can do baby gifts from Melissa and Doug on the company side. So I'd also send something to everyone who has kids.
That's
on top of whatever the maternity leave policy is.
That's a really good branded gift, and that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. Daniel, where can you guys be found online, and how can they reach out to you if and when they need hand sanitizer, masks, awesome gear, and they have a $10,000 budget with 10 employees?
Perfect. So am I there? You got me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Sorry. Daniel.mael@mpgpromotions.com is my email. We're at mpgpromotions.com. We're on Instagram. We have a Facebook page managed by Shelby, who's great. We're on LinkedIn, so you can hit us up on LinkedIn. And if any of this is too confusing, just hit up Warren, and hopefully Warren will pass the message along. So
I've done it before. I'll do it again. Of course.
We're here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for all the awesome gear. I look forward to I didn't think that this interview was going to cost me some money, but I know it will, because all that new gear you got, and I'm hearing about, and I love rocking it. And we definitely learned that we're not going to wrap my cart anytime soon. But I appreciate you joining me, and wish you and the family health and happiness, and safety during the rest of the pandemic. And
you as well.
thank you, man.
Be safe.
Talk